send my comments to the Lord Mayor.
Oh, g'day, Mac. It's Graham Quirk here, Lord Mayor of Brisbane. How are you?
Oh, Graham, I spoke to you earlier this year, didn't I? When we'd just done a concert in Brisbane.
That's absolutely right, Mac.
And Gary Shearston was in there too, the late Gary Shearston. Isn't it amazing? There's a little Christmas poem I've got which ends, I think it's a C.J. Dennis, it might be Henry Lawson, and it's called Along by Merry Christmas Time it goes. And the last line is, for who knows where we all shall be next Merry Christmas time. And I thought about that sadly the other day when I thought of Gary. And Gary was in the studio a little bit after you, but I remember, yes, Graham, talking to you. How are you?
Very well indeed, thanks, Macca.
What's happening in Brisbane this Christmas?
Well, Macca, we've got the Brisbane International Tennis Tournament starting here on the 29th of December, and it goes through to the finals on the 4th and 5th. We've got Roger Federer and Serena Williams leading the cast of internationals will be here for that event. But look, the important thing leading up to that is we're going to be unveiling the Ken Fletcher bust. Now, this is being brought about by a few locals. Peter Acey, Hugh Lunn, of course, whom you know well. We've had contributors like Alan Jones contributed significantly to the preparation of this bust, and we'll be opening that or launching that on the 29th of December, the first day of the Brisbane International. So, but look, there's been a lot of stuff happening in regard to tennis. We're redeveloping the old Milton Tennis Centre site at the moment, and one of the features of that is there was a Stefan racket which was angled up there. It was one of the highlights of that centre for many, many years, and we didn't ever know really what happened to this racket. But Stefan, a well-known hairdresser here in Queensland, has kindly donated that back to the city, and it will be and form part of the frontage to the new Milton Tennis Centre.
And the Roy Emerson, it's called the Roy Emerson, is it?
It's called Frew Park, named after Robert Frew, who was the president of the Queensland Tennis Association for 20 years back in the early 1900s. But there will be the Roy Emerson courts. There'll be 6 tennis courts in all as part of the $12 million development. So it'll be a park with all ability equipment and exercise centre and an administration building, but the 6 tennis courts and tennis admin will be known as the Roy Emerson Centre of the court.
Because people may or may not realise what a place the Milton courts were. I mean, it was a place where lots of wonderful tennis was played, and it was a time too when Queensland had the greatest tennis players in the world, Roy Emerson and Rod Laver and Mel Anderson and Ashley Cooper and all those people were, and others that were very good, and Milton was the place, wasn't it? Then it was sort of pulled down. It was an all wooden structure, wasn't it, Milton?
Well, it was. That's absolutely right, Macca. And as you've said, there was a lot of the big names of Australian tennis went through there and on to international status, and so it will be good to get these courts back and running again. We've been reinvigorating the world of tennis in Queensland, and in conjunction with schools, doing some joint projects with them to make sure that there are plenty of courts available around the city for the up-and-comers. But this will be a terrific centre for the future.
Graham, I'm talking to Graham Quirk, who's the Mayor of Brisbane, and the Mayor of Brisbane represents the whole of Brisbane, don't you, Graham? I compare it to Sydney, whereas the Mayor of Sydney is bounded by a few suburbs around the CBD and etc. But you cover the whole of Brisbane. Is that's a good thing, you think? Well,
I've got a direct constituency of 1.1 million people here, Macca. Look, the system works well here. It's more like a city-state in Brisbane, and if you like, you talked about the Sydney comparison. If you put a sort of a dot in the CBD here and go out 20 kilometres and draw a big circle, you've got the one council and the one set of rules. I think in Sydney you do the same. You're dealing with 35 different councils. So that's a comparative. It's often hard to explain to people, and particularly federal bureaucracy, sometimes how big we are. But look, it works well here. We provide a good system of government. We've got obviously ward councils. There's 26 of those, and so they have the same size basically as a state member of parliament in their seats.
Now, getting back to the tennis centre, the the bust is being unveiled on the 29th. Is the Roy Emerson Centre been named? Is Roy invited there, or what's going on with that?
Well, look, that won't be opened for about a year yet. So we've just started the redevelopment of the site, and there's earthworks happening down there right now. But it's in the early stages, and but look, absolutely, we'll be having some grand openings when that's finalised.
I'm sure he must be. I mean, there's the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, and you've got the Brisbane International Tennis Centre, don't you? Which is and that's a Tennyson, isn't it? A place called Tennyson. That's right, Magga, and that's where the Ken Fletcher Park is located, and where we'll be unveiling the bust. Yeah, and Roy Emerson's very pleased about this, is he? Oh, very much so. Mm. Yeah, no, I think he's very captured by it all, and again, it's just great to see a rebirth of tennis and acknowledgement of some of these greats from the past. I'll say Roy Emerson won, I think, all the Grand Slams at least twice. He was a marvellous tennis player, wasn't he, Roy Emerson? I mean, I just used to look at him playing, and he just seemed to have boundless energy. He seemed to be almost like a robot, because he was built, and he was obviously a very strong man. Yes, he was, and Magga, we came from that golden age of tennis too, where we just seem to have so many greats around that era in tennis, and some great characters, like the great Fletcher himself, of course, and but no, Roy was just outstanding, and it's only proper that we should acknowledge his contribution to Queensland and international tennis in this way. Graham, what's Christmas mean to you? What do you do at Christmas, and what happens in Brisbane? Well, my favourite carol is Silent Night, Magga, because that's what I look for, a few of those, and I'll just have a bit of time around home with the family, mate. Yeah, I suppose being Mayor of Brisbane, as I said to you before, there's that poem. It's a pretty tough gig. You've got to go to all them dinners, and you've got to wear your chains and all. But I suppose it's like being like a politician. I suppose you've got to go to. You just do. That's the part of the deal, isn't it? You say you've got to go, and you've got to be places and whatever. Absolutely, absolutely. And no. Look, I love getting out and amongst people, and if you don't, well, just get out of this business of mayoralty, because it's it's all encompassing. But that's all right. That's what life's about. Yeah, good on you, Graham. Merry Christmas to you, and a lot of people will be there on the 29th for the unveiling of Kenny Fletcher's bust. They'll be very welcome. Good on you, mate. All the best to you, Magga. Bye. That's Graham Quirk, the Mayor of Brisbane, Lord Mayor of Brisbane. I thought of these people who live under the oak.
My name's Ian McCauley, and this is my wife Judy, and we're proud to be part of the promotion for the history of Milton tennis courts.